It's so good. It's so good. Every time it's so good. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final webinar of 2022. It's so lovely to have you here. Thank you already for bringing the good vibes in the chat feature every week. It's so appreciated. Genuinely, it makes me feel a little bit happy inside, and hopefully it does for you too. If you haven't already, do pop in the chat feature, say hello, say where you're watching from, and if you can, use an emoji to sum up how you're feeling today. I suspect there might be quite a lot of cold emojis coming on through. Yes, Jasmine, we did it. While you're in the chat feature, also don't forget to change your messages to everyone. So what you'll see in the chat feature is you'll have the option where it says to, and then it'll either say hosts and panelists. If it says that, then press that button and change it to everyone, so everyone can see your messages come on through. Because right now I can see folks, we've got the Tricia, Stuart, who else we've got? Wendy, Gus, Philippa, Susie, with the amazing emojis. It's so lovely. Pete -6 in Glasgow. We should have just asked people how cold it is where you are. That might have got a decent reaction too. It's so lovely to have you here. Thank you all so much. Rather than me sort of just wax on about like how amazing you are in the chat feature, let me get on with today's introduction, otherwise we'll never get going. So today our guest is Dan Knowlton, who is the CMO and co-founder of the agency in his name, Knowlton. Dan is a marketer I really admire. And it's not just because of his character traits, although he is a lovely human, but it's actually because of his actions. In the past 6 months, Dan has seen an opportunity with TikTok and gone for it, like really gone for it. He's given the channel a fair shot, and as a result, has seen the benefits. In the context of marketing, you know, I'm not talking about like nurse brave, but I'm speaking about marketer brave. That's brave, but it's also reactive, it's useful, and it speaks testament to the man himself that is willing to take a risk, which I think is really cool. Thank you also, so many folks in the chat feature right now. You can even see the excellent Dave Harland saying it's a bit brisk in Liverpool. Today we're going to hear all about Dan's journey through TikTok and what he's learned from doing a smashing job and what you can learn too. Today is a presentation and then a Q&A. So do get your questions in using the Q&A feature. Like this is one selfishly that I'm like, oh God, I need to know about this. So like I'm going to be having questions ready and waiting. But if you've got your own, use the Q&A feature, which is found down below in the tab and the toolbar thing, and you can get your questions in, and we'll make sure to ask those to Dan later on. Before we get going, I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, and this being the last session of 2022, then if I can ask a little tiny favor that would actually make the hugest difference, then it would be to thank the sponsors, because without them, I wouldn't be able to bring these sessions to you. The team wouldn't be able to bring the IRL events to you. TMM just wouldn't exist. Okay, there we go. Everything's fine. Sorry about that.
I thought I was going to have to take over then.
Yeah. Well, you will do it in a second. So a big thank you to our sponsors. And this week's featured sponsor is Brand Recruitment. So Brand Recruitment are fabulous folks. They give recruitment a good name. They've been sponsors of TMM since day one. So thank you so much to Brand Recruitment. Also, a big thank you to Impression, Content Square, Attest, Hrefs, Redgate Software, Cambridge Marketing College, and indeed Brand Recruitment. If you get the email afterwards and you have the moment to thank them on LinkedIn, it makes the world a difference. With all that done and the fire alarm halfway through, which is pretty impressive, that's not going to make the edit. I'll hand over to you, Dan.
Thank you, Joe. That was a really nice intro. Thanks, mate. Right, let me just share my screen here. Hi, everyone. Cool, here we go. Cool. So I was saying to Joe before this, I'm actually really excited. This is a completely new session that I've never delivered before. And it's the first time really publicly talking about lots of detail behind the scenes in terms of our TikTok journey and all the lessons we've learned. So thank you for all joining us today. Really, this is going to be broken down into a few different sections. So I want to start by giving a bit of background info on my journey with TikTok, and I really want to share some of the numbers with you. I want to be completely transparent and show you our journey over the last couple of years, and also talk about some of the benefits we've seen from TikTok as a kind of normal company. And then I've got 5 kind of key lessons that we've learned over the last sort of 6 months or so. And finally, I've got a bit of a TikTok cheat sheet for you all, which is full of lots of different tools, apps, resources that will help you on your TikTok journey. So definitely stick around for that last part, because that's you're going to want to like screenshot, because there's loads of useful resources and things for you there. So I guess the first thing to say is, when I first downloaded the TikTok app a couple of years ago, this is what I thought it was all about. So when I downloaded it, it was a lot of much younger and cooler and better looking people than me sort of dancing on TikTok. And that's what I thought the app was all about. And really, a lot of the content was focused on that. I didn't really see it as a business platform, which is probably why for the first couple of years, I really didn't make much of an effort to create content there. I was more of a sort of consumer of content rather than a creator. But I do think that there's still lots of sort of small businesses out there that still think it is this young people dancing and no sort of real business benefit. But I'm here to sort of share my story as to how I was wrong and how it can be hugely beneficial for sort of normal businesses. And I want to start by sharing just some of the like key benefits we've seen from being on TikTok. So just to break some of these down, firstly, it's been hugely beneficial to us in terms of building awareness and trust for our video and social media marketing agency. TikTok really is built as a platform for discovery. Something that gets me really excited about TikTok, which I don't feel about a lot of other platforms, is you can literally start today with 0 followers and you can post a TikTok that blows up. Because of the way the platform's built with a For You page, you can be discovered very easily without a huge following. Whereas for those that sort of use other social media platforms, you'll be used to spending years building up an audience, and it takes a long time. Whereas with TikTok, it can happen almost instantly. And we've seen that really when we only really started putting effort in March this year, actually posting consistently, as you'll see in a second, and it's really worked to build awareness and trust. The second key benefit for us, which I really think this is another reason why TikTok's been so amazing for us, and it could be for you as well, is to get inspiration for content. Like, I'll let you in a little secret. Some of our most effective marketing campaigns that we've delivered for some of the biggest brands in the world and for our own agency have come as inspiration we've got from 20-something-year-old TikTok creators that are nothing to do with our industry. And later on, I've got a bit of an example of how we created this video here, which was a GCSE drama class makes an ad for a marketing agency parody video that was inspired by a guy called Jack Joseph on TikTok. And this video directly helped us win a 50 grand project last week. And I'll tell you a bit about that story later on, but it's a great place to get inspiration. Also, even if you're on other platforms like LinkedIn's so behind the times that you can find something that's trending on TikTok and create your own version on LinkedIn, and everyone's amazed because it's like, wow, this cool new thing, when really, because TikTok's ahead of the times, it's been sort of trending on there for a while. So yeah, it's a really great place to get inspiration for your content. I think this one's probably the most important one, the whole short form vertical video piece. So whether you think you should be on TikTok or not is irrelevant. What you definitely should be focusing on, especially in 2023, is creating short form vertical video. Social media platforms leave clues, and when all of them are leaving the same clue, for us marketers, it's really a sign that we need to act on it. And the clue that every single social media platform is leaving us is to create short form vertical video. If you think about platforms like YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok, all of these platforms are optimizing for short form vertical video and allowing users to get much greater organic reach and engagement by using those sort of features on the platform. So I really think a huge focus for anyone who creates video on social media should be to create short form vertical video. And the great thing about TikTok is it's a great place to learn how to do that. So whether you want to be on it or not, just download, like as an action, everyone who's watching this, I really recommend just downloading the app and just spending some time consuming content to get used to short form vertical video and how it works. Because there's various strategies and tactics that are used to keep you engaged. things like punching in and out of videos, quick cuts, changing the visually what's happening, having big animated captions. There's all these different things that we can talk about later on that really work for short form vertical video. The final thing, which has been quite surprising to me, is how quickly we've, as a B2B business, how quickly we've actually started to see leads coming to our agency that are referencing that they've seen us on TikTok. I've never seen or thought of TikTok as a lead generation tool for us. Like for us, most of our new business comes from LinkedIn, our podcast, and recommendations. And we didn't think TikTok, thinking that it wouldn't be somewhere where we'd get new business. But as you can see here from this sort of screenshot, we're starting to generate leads. So, and I think this is only going to grow in the future as more and more people get on the platform and the platform ages up, like has happened for all other platforms before it, like Facebook, like Snapchat, etc. So yeah, here are some of the benefits that we found from our TikTok journey, and this is why some of you should consider using it. Just to give you a transparent look at my sort of TikTok journey. So this is gives you a bit of an idea of my journey from 2020. So in January 2020, I downloaded the app, and in 2020, I only posted 13 TikToks. Now, in 2020, I think I still thought that it was just an app for people dancing. So I sort of posted random things, had a video of when my son was born and he was laughing, and did a video of that, reposted some of the stuff we posted on other platforms like LinkedIn, and didn't really know what I was doing entirely, but just posted 13 TikToks, and each of them got just under 1,000 views. So got about 10,000 views on TikTok. In 2021, January to December, still wasn't really taking the platform seriously. Posted a total of 27 TikToks, which isn't a huge amount. Again, sort of lots of random things. It wasn't a huge focus for us. So it was more just every now and again, we'd think, oh, I think something can go on TikTok, and it would go on there. Really, March 2022 was when we really started to take the platform seriously. I started to post a few times a week from March 2022. And then in June 2022 is when I kind of got the first couple of sort of semi-viral videos that were around 500,000 video views each. And now, actually, interestingly, now where we are now in December, most of the videos get between 300 and 5,000 views, some getting 20 to 130,000 views. And this is a really interesting thing that I think everyone needs to understand about TikTok is it really is feast and famine. From my experience, you can post a video that absolutely blows up and gets like hundreds of thousands of views or millions of views. And then you can post something that you feel is equally as good and you can get 300 views. And this is why, which it gets into my tips later on, consistency and testing is so important to you having success on TikTok, which we'll get onto in a second. But yeah, it really is sort of feast and famine. Here's a bit of a graph. Everyone loves a graph in a webinar, or a chart. So you can kind of see on the x-axis the number of TikToks I'd posted, and then the views on the left-hand side. Also, something to point out, I keep referencing views because I guess it's one of the key metrics on TikTok. But for a video to really get a huge amount of views, it has to get a huge amount of engagement, because that's what drives more people seeing it, which is super important. But you can see the first 13 TikToks, not many. And then it took to the first 64 to then start to gain traction. Then those sort of 2 semi-viral videos happened. And then it sort of petered off coming into December this year. But yeah, that just gives you an idea of how many sort of times I've posted and how many views they've got. But it's really important to be consistent. And I guess just the final thing to say about what really excites me, and I think should excite you all as well about TikTok, is, like I said, you can have 0 followers and start an account today and post a video or a TikTok, and it can blow up. Like, you have just as much opportunity to blow up as someone who has a huge amount of followers, because of the way the platform's built for discoverability, and with the For You page. So yeah, that's just something you should all be excited about TikTok. So getting into the lessons that I've learned. So there's going to be 5 sort of key lessons here that I'm going to break down with different examples and ways that you can implement them. I also want to just caveat this with, take all of this advice with a pinch of salt. I think sometimes us marketers get into a habit of sort of having success with something and then trying to tell everyone else they should do it. I'm not here to do that. I just want to share my journey with TikTok and how it's helped us. And then hopefully, if it resonates with any of you, like, yeah, hopefully you learn some lessons from that. But don't feel like you all have to suddenly be on TikTok and it should be your number one focus. For us, TikTok still isn't our main focus. Like for us, we always put at least 20% of our marketing resource into trying and testing something new. And right now that's TikTok. And, you know, in February 2020, that was our podcast, which is now one of our biggest revenue generators. So yeah, I definitely think everyone should at least download the app and understand how it works and how short form video works. But yeah, here are some of the lessons. So lesson number one, this is one of the really important ones. The way I've found success with TikTok, or like a level of success, is consistency and testing. So you'll notice when I talked about my journey and when I started to get more consistent, that's when I started to get more views and engagement and started to gain more value from TikTok. It really is important to post consistently, and also to try and test different things, because by testing different things, you fast track success, because you can quickly try lots of different things. And when you see success in something, you can then try and emulate that. And that's what we've done consistently on TikTok, is trying lots of different types of content and then seeing what works and emulating that success. So just to give you, well, there's a lot on this slide, but just to give you a breakdown of all the different, not all of them, but like a whole range of different things we've tried that have worked quite well. So first of all, sharing your experiences. So for example, this is we did a podcast recently on talking about having breaks from alcohol, and we shared our experience about the highs and lows of drinking alcohol and how it benefited us having more breaks, and that resonated with a lot of people. So I think yeah, think about your life, your experience in business or in your life, and sharing the lessons you're learning. That's something that's worked quite well. Another thing that we've done is relatable skits and sketches. So we produce a lot of kind of comedic skits and sketches that poke fun at things in the marketing world that are highly relatable to our target market. And you'll see if you go on my TikTok, you can have a look there. There's lots of different ones that we've created. One of my most successful TikToks in terms of views was one where I mentioned other influential people on TikTok. So another strategy that we've seen working is where you actually reference other TikTokers in your video and then tag them in the copy. And it's that classic sort of like ego stroking thing. Like, people like to be spoken about. So if you mention and are positive about another influential person on TikTok, they're likely to comment on that and say, thank you for mentioning me. And then that helps with the algorithm, because TikTok thinks, wow, this big TikToker is commenting on your stuff, it must be good. Then it shows more people and more people and more people, and it worked really well. Another thing is being controversial. Now, I don't mean like be Piers Morgan or Katie Hopkins controversial, but something that worked for us is sort of we did a sketch that sort of shone light on a lot of things like LinkedIn influencers and some of the kind of overinflated made up stories that people are posting and how they're going viral and that kind of thing. And it was worked really well. So yeah, I guess the main thing here is just don't be vanilla. Don't not have an opinion and share it. Another type of content that's been incredibly useful for us, I guess not even just on TikTok, but throughout our whole journey of growing our company, has been educational content. And this is like this right now. Whenever we learn something, we share it publicly with the world, and that attracts people who want to learn more on that topic. So yeah, sharing your lessons. Using trending sounds is another one. I've got some really great tools later on that are going to help you find trending sounds. Also, small things like including numbers in the thumbnail text of your TikToks is something else that we've seen working really well to get more people to watch your TikToks. Another thing, asking questions to an audience. We've had a few where we've asked questions to the audience and lots of people answer in the comments, and it sounds like a simple thing, but it's worked really well. Talking about trending topics is another one. So thinking about your industry, like if you run a florist, what's going on in the world of floristry? Or that's not it, is it? In the world of flowers, like talk about things that are happening in industry. If you work in accounting, what's happening to do with that? Any time you're talking about things that are people are already thinking about and talking about, like for example, we've created content with the whole with the whole Brewdog World Cup thing, when that people were talking about that, we shared our opinion on that. Here, when McDonald's had a bit of a greenwashing scandal, we talked about that. So yeah, look at things that are trending in your industry and start talking about that. Using emojis in thumbnail text is another little tip that we found works well. It's sort of eye-catching. Another thing, creating topical educational content with your industry. And finally, this is something actually we've seen more success with recently, is having a really hooky value proposition. I think if you've sort of been on TikTok or seen people talk about TikTok, you'll see that everyone always talks about the hook, which is the first thing that you say or communicate at the start of your TikTok. This is super, super important. And if you type in to the search bar of TikTok hook ideas, there's loads of people that create content to give you ideas, but definitely in the start of your TikTok, you don't want to waffle on. You don't want to be like, well, I'm about to show you something that's going to be good in this video. It's like, you want to go, in this video, you're going to learn how to do X, Y, Z. Or in this video, I'm going to teach you how to do this, this, this. Or in this video, I'm going to show you why the marketing meetup is bloody brilliant. Like you need to just say what the value proposition right at the start, so people instantly see it and then think, I want to know why the marketing meetup's brilliant. I'm going to watch this, and then you continue to watch it. So there's just some examples of how, like, and ideas for you guys to try and test different variations. There's also a whole load of other things. There's like things like day in the life content does really well. Behind the scenes content. There's lots of different things you can try, but a final piece of advice on this sort of tip, on this sort of area, is download TikTok and just start consuming content, and the algorithm will do the work for you. It will show you things that you're interested in, and you can learn from other TikToks that are showing up in your For You page. Lesson number 2, get inspiration from outside your industry. So I mentioned this earlier at the start, and it's really, really important. So even if you decide, I don't want to create content on TikTok, I still think you should download it so to gain inspiration for ideas to create content on other platforms. That was one of the main ways we got value from TikTok for the first 2 years, not posting anything or really, making an effort with posting things on TikTok. It was more consuming content to get ideas for other content and marketing campaigns we were running. So here's a prime example of that, and I want to break this down for you. So this is a guy on TikTok called Jack Joseph. I don't know if any of you recognize him. You probably have seen some of his content if you're on TikTok. So he's a 20-something-year-old TikTok creator that creates these short form kind of comedic skits and sketches tapping into Gen Z and millennial culture. And one of the series of videos he does, which I find really funny, is he does this sort of GCSE drama class parody video where he plays out what it was like when you went into a GCSE drama class. So let us know in the comments, guys, who has been in a GCSE drama class. I don't want to know how old you all are, but if you've been in a GCSE drama class, you'll probably recognize the way this plays out. It's really, really funny. Anyway, we saw this and we thought, we want to create our own version that isn't just a funny video, but actually helps us drive new business for our marketing agency. So what we did was, we created our own version called GCSE Drama Class Makes an Advert for a Marketing Agency. And the reason this works so well, we actually posted this in various places, but it did pretty well on LinkedIn. The reason this works so well is because it achieved 2 things. Firstly, it was the script for this video, and you'll see it on my LinkedIn profile, by the way. If you go search Dan Knowlton, it's featured on my LinkedIn page, so you'll see it. The script was written strategically to basically be an advert for our company. It was literally saying, here's how we can help you. Here's the results we've achieved. Like, it was written really cleverly to promote us. But it was delivered. The second part is it was delivered in a creative way that people loved consuming and found interesting. So in the comments, you'll see people saying they couldn't stop watching this because it was fun and entertaining and that kind of thing. And it was relatable and it was nostalgic. So so it worked really well. It achieved those 2 objectives. So we posted this on LinkedIn. We got tons of nice comments from people in our target market who liked it. But the important parts are it directly generated leads. I got messages on LinkedIn from people who were saying, I've seen this video. I want to get in touch with you to discuss if we can work together. And interestingly, like I mentioned earlier, we've actually just taken on a new client that's a very famous drinks brand that you all would have heard of. And I got the message in the top right here, which referenced this video, that was why they got in touch, and we've just converted them as a client. So getting inspiration from TikTok works, and it has worked for us. So it's been hugely beneficial. Lesson number 3: ensure your TikTok content is attracting the right target market. So something that can happen, and I think I found myself, being honest, I think I found myself doing this early on when I hit some big numbers, is you can get blinded by the numbers, and you can see like a certain video gets loads of views and stuff, and you can go off on a trajectory of creating content that's not actually helping you achieve your overall objective of attracting new customers, if that's your objective, which I think a lot of small businesses and normal businesses are trying to do. So because you can just share funny videos that aren't anything to do with your business, and they can really blow up, but they're not actually helping you attract a community of people who are potential customers. So it's really important that your content resonates and the themes of content resonate with your target market. Now, the way we do that is a lot of our TikTok content is clips cut from our podcast Business Anchors. So Business Anchors, it started as an experiment in February 2020, where myself and my co-founder Lloyd, who's my brother, saw a bit of a gap in the market because there was lots of amazing informative marketing podcasts out there, but they weren't that necessarily entertaining and like things you'd want to listen to at the weekend for fun. You know, they were like informative and great, but we were like, we want something fun. So we created Business Anchors, and to give you an idea of where this was, we were pitching this, we wanted to call it Business Wankers, but we knew that it wouldn't rank in podcast charts. So we called it Business Anchors, put an anchor at the front, and it's really a very non-corporate podcast where we share lessons we're learning from running campaigns with some of the biggest brands in the world. And it's very informal. We take the piss out of each other, and it's informative and hopefully fun to listen to. So anyway, the reason that we know how our TikTok content is aligned with what our audience want to hear is because a lot of the episodes are designed to attract like marketing managers, CMOs, head of marketing. If you look at like the kind of podcast episodes, Marketing Manager Guide is literally a guide for our target market. So it's attracting the right people. So just make sure with your TikTok content, you're not just creating funny videos or like stupid dance videos. It's like it needs to resonate with your target market. And here's just some examples of the types of topics we talk about. Coming up with TikTok ideas, LinkedIn, how to get subscribers to your LinkedIn newsletter, a whole range of different things. It's kind of aligned with what the kind of thing our customers will want to hear. Lesson number 4, this has been a massive lesson for us recently, is to repurpose your TikToks. So I'd say in the last month or so, we started to download our TikToks using a tool called SnapTik, which is a free tool you can use to download TikToks so that it doesn't have the watermark on. And we started uploading them to YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels. And they've done really well. Like especially on some of our channels that don't necessarily have huge audiences, we've reached some amazing numbers from just downloading TikToks we've already created and re-uploading to other platforms like Reels and Shorts. So also on Reels, what Reels tends to do is when you download a TikTok and upload it to Reels, it usually finds the audio that you've used, especially when you're using like trending audio, and it tags it to your video, which helps more people discover it as well. So yeah, it works incredibly well. And also YouTube Shorts is another one. So yeah, definitely try that. And also like even LinkedIn. We repurpose a lot of our TikTok content and post it on LinkedIn, and it does really well. Like I said earlier, I think the audience on LinkedIn are like way behind. You can do something that was like trending or cool on TikTok like a year ago, and everyone on LinkedIn's like, oh my God, how did you come up with this? And it's like, yeah, that was old news on TikTok. But and you can see that with the platform, like it's behind the times with all new feature updates and things, like when it brought out stories like a year after everyone else and that kind of thing. But so the final lesson, or I guess useful resource, is this TikTok cheat sheet that I'm going to share with you. And I'm going to go through each of these different resources with you and why they're useful to you and why you should look at them. So First of all, the Friday Club. The Friday Club is a weekly email newsletter that I write and send every week, where I share all of the best marketing apps, tools, resources, platform updates, news, podcasts, reports that I discover every week. And also share a lot of TikTok related content in there, because there's always things happening with TikTok. So if you're interested in getting that one email a week, then definitely check that out. This is a really good one as well. So one of the key questions I get asked is like, where do you find trending sounds for TikTok? Because tapping into trending sounds is a really great way to get discovered. So later.com has a really great blog that they update every single week with the latest TikTok trends. And then they'll break down what the trend's about and how you can emulate it. So it's, again, just like makes your life really easy. So definitely check that out. They've also got a one for trends on Reels as well in Instagram. So yeah, just check out their blog. Another account here, Trend Bible. This person is really great. She basically does a similar thing to later.com, but on TikTok. She'll discover trending videos and sounds, and she'll create a video that explains how you can tap into that trend. So yeah, again, it just makes your life easier. If you're thinking of TikTok ideas, you can go on Trend Bible's account and emulate some of the trends that she's tapping into. Snaptik is the tool I mentioned earlier that you can download TikToks without the watermark. We found that uploading TikToks with the watermark on Instagram reduces the reach by a significant amount. Do your own testing, but I think I've seen a number of people say it as well, and we found that. So Snaptik basically takes the watermark off. You just post the link of your TikTok, and then it lets you download it for free, which is super useful. Next, down here, TikTok analytics. So I'm actually really, really impressed with TikTok's analytics. I think their analytics are some of the best compared to all other social platforms. It's things like when you post a TikTok, you can click on it and click more data, and it will show you a graph of where people have dropped off on the video. So like retention rates, you can literally hold your finger over it and see the different parts of the video where people are dropping off. And it's super useful to learn like how to improve your videos, because you may see a segment where you're like babbling on a bit, and you might think, oh, actually next time I'll cut that out and make it more concise and clear. So yeah, it's just a really great analytics tool that you should use, and it's free when you've got a TikTok account. The commercial music newsletter. This sounds really boring, but something, and people that have been on TikTok, something you may find an issue. When you change your TikTok account to a business account, you're not allowed to use a lot of trending sounds because of the copyright infringement. So you need to find commercial music or copyright free music. And when you change your account to a business account, you automatically get subscribed to this commercial music newsletter, where it gives you the most trending sounds that can be used as a business account. And it's just super useful. So definitely change that. And I would recommend changing to a business account because of the analytics and things. We found it better. Business Anchors podcast, I've spoken about loads. So yeah, if you want to give a new podcast a go, give Business Anchors a go. Yeah, we share a new podcast every Thursday. And finally, the TikTok for Business blog. Again, they sound super basic, but they release some really great case studies and examples showing how other brands are using TikTok. And I've just learned a huge amount from their simple blog that talks about case studies and things that are happening on TikTok. So definitely go and check that out. Yeah, it's been really good. And that is it. I'm hoping that we've got, some time for Q&A and questions and things. But thanks, everyone, for sitting here with me and listening to me babble on.
Bang on, mate. Thank you very, very much. It's so appreciated when you get a bunch of resources like that at the end, because I know that's the type of thing that folks find super useful. We're getting a lot of capital letters in the chat feature right now as well.
Oh, really? What does that mean?
So, yeah, good ones.
Oh, okay.
So we're getting folks saying that was mega useful, capital letters from the amazing Hillary. Thanks, Dan, from Josh. Simon, that was awesome. Again, capitals.
Oh, this is nice. Thanks, everyone.
So useful. Lizzie with the loved in capital letters. A bunch of folks saying thank you. Blimey, Tristan, again, Dan makes great content, capital letters. There's a theme going on.
Oh, thanks everyone. This is nice. I can just sit here and watch this all day. Please carry on.
That's really, really lovely. Thank you very, very much, mate. It's great to have that as a grounding for not only the Q&A, but also just like to sort of go through your journey and hear about stuff like getting obsessed with the numbers and then sort of drawing back and sort of like becoming focused on target audience again. Like I can see that's an easy trap to fall into. There's a question that I want to pick up on to start off with, because it was an issue of contention within the chat as we were going through, which is this idea of normal companies and also sort of boring companies, quote unquote. And obviously you've been through this approach for yourself, where you've sort of started from a position of a marketing agency. I would personally make the idea that a marketing agency is probably, from a starting point, a quote unquote normal company. But have you seen any broader examples of folks either in B2B or quote unquote traditionally considered boring companies, even though there aren't such a thing, sort of doing really well on TikTok?
I need to think. There's definitely loads. If I open my TikTok on my For You page, there'll be loads of people that I follow. I'm trying to think of specific examples. Leave that one with me and let me think as we talk, and they'll pop up in my head.
Sweet. Okay, let's go to the next one. And Catherine, you didn't create tension at all. That's the point of discussion. Good discussion is exactly what we're here for. So thank you for your contributions. It's really, really appreciated. So let's take the next one from Alice. So Alice says, how can small business owners doing most of their social themselves integrate TikTok into their content marketing mix without going mad? So you use some examples of repurposing, but I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, so I'd say a really low barrier entry way to start, something that works across the board, which you probably have seen if you've been on TikTok, that can be a really good starting point, is identifying trending sounds, which you can find using the resources that I shared, like the later blog. So identify a trending sound, then uploading a video, which you can shoot on your phone. It can be anything. It can literally be anything. And then write like a lengthy caption on the screen that's something relatable to your target market. So for example, I'll give you an example. And if you go to my TikTok, which you'll see Dan Knowlton, you'll see loads of examples of these. So definitely do that. But I recently posted one where there was a trending sound, and I wrote a lengthy caption talking about the unsexy reality of running a small business, and how everyone portrays on social media that you grow really quickly and you turn over £1 million in a year. And I just wrote something relatable that was like, this isn't, like 99% of companies don't do that. It takes years of consistent hard work, making lots of mistakes to get any level of success. And I wrote a lengthy caption on a video that was like a random video that was on my phone, a video from the office here, and it did quite well. It got like a few thousand views, and that's something that is very low barrier to entry, that everyone can start creating. And by using a relatable situation in the text, you can then start to attract people who are in your target market. So like, definitely think about what you're writing in that caption to make it relatable to who your target markets are. And then that can be a really good starting point. Like, and for example, I just schedule literally 15 minutes a day to find a trending sound, create a video, even if it's at my desk here, of me sitting down or doing something, and write that out. And that's just a really simple starting point to start getting traction. And then there's obviously all the other types of content you can test and create, like I've shared in this presentation, but that's a really good starting point.
So I want to pick up on that last bit there, where you're sort of saying 15 minutes to sit down and find a trending sound, because that's the bit I find so difficult, and I think this speaks to some of the debate about the quote unquote boring stuff, is that I feel a pressure to be like entertaining, and stuff like that. But like, if you've got a trend and you're trying to match it to whatever you do in whatever way, sometimes that line isn't clear. So have you had any time to reflect on like how you bridge that gap between the two and sort of find something that is going to fly? Or is it just...
I think first of all, like, you definitely need to get this thing out of your head that you need to be really entertaining. I think for us, like, part of our brand has been kind of being comedic and entertaining and stuff, but you don't need, like, if you look at on my TikTok, you'll see it's not all like fun and entertaining. The example that I just shared, the kind of trending sound with a relatable text over with a random video,
Yeah.
it's not funny, it's not like entertaining, it's relatable. So
Yes.
I'd say to bridge that gap, think of it as, start by creating relatable content that's relatable to your target market, and think about your experiences through starting your business. What things have you learned that you can share? It could be educational, relatable, informative. And again, that's just it's a really simple approach to start with. That's very low risk. Is thinking, right, when I started my accountancy firm, what were some of the key things I've learned over the last 5 years? Oh, one of them was that I did this thing that was really helpful. Let me find a trending sound, do a video of me at my desk in my accountancy practice, typing away, and then type that lesson. Yeah, and I think it's just a low barrier to entry starting point. I think as you progress on TikTok, you want to branch out and try and test different things, but that's something you can do. Here's another quick example, low barrier entry thing you can try, is a day in the life. Throughout your day, anytime you think there's anything mildly interesting that you're doing that people could be interested in, do a short video throughout the day, and at the end, just import all of those videos into TikTok with a trending sound, and you can do a voiceover explaining what's happening throughout your day. And a lot of people say, no one cares what I'm doing, that would be boring, no one's interested. But trust me, videos get hundreds of thousands of views from doing that, so it works.
Nice. I love that. And I think, yeah, it's a real release, actually, to sort of think, I guess this is the thing, right? We all think, and well, maybe we don't all think, but I think, when I go on these things, that I'm way more important than I am, but actually what actually happens is, like, just people scroll past and they go to the next thing. If it's not good, they're just, whatever, it's not like they go, oh, that guy's an idiot, it's so horrible, it's just like, yeah, whatever, next thing, and that's it. But that's
exactly. And something I find, speaking about scrolling, something I find in terms of finding things to do for inspiration, what I do is I spend some time scrolling, and when I see something that I find interesting and stops me, I save it. I just click the heart, and then it's in your saved TikToks, and then you can, you're in your liked TikToks. Then you can just go and emulate that trend that you've seen. And so by spending time on TikTok, it's an easy way to come up with new ideas as well.
That's perfect. Bang on, mate. Thank you. Let's go to the questions from the community as well. So I don't monopolize here. So we've got the top one that's thumbed up. So folks, for everyone watching in, if you see any questions that you'd like to be answered in the Q&A, do give them a thumbs up, because that will be how I prioritize. I'll sort of take it from the top for the most part. So the question comes from the amazing Lizzie Benton, who says, I feel so spread thin with all the social channels. As a B2B business, what would be your top social channels? Does audience still matter?
Totally. And my honest thing is, if your resources are very spread thin, I wouldn't focus most of my effort on TikTok. And like I said before, we don't. Most of our effort is focused on LinkedIn and our podcast, because they're the places that generate the most inquiries that turn into new business. But what I really want to reinforce is the importance of spending at least 20% of your time, your resource, your energy on trying and testing something completely new. It doesn't have to be TikTok. Could be some other market. Doesn't even have to be social media. It could be some other marketing channel. Could be blogging. Could be doing an email newsletter. But if you just end up sticking to this, like if we just stuck to LinkedIn and podcasting, because that's what's always got good results, when this rise in short form vertical video takes over with YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, that kind of thing, and LinkedIn dies down, we're going to have all our eggs in one basket, and it's going to be really risky for us. So I really think, don't just focus on what's good now. At least try and spend a small amount of resource in trying and testing. And it doesn't have to be TikTok, like I say, it could be some other platform. But I'm really passionate about this idea that short form vertical video is the future. And there's so many clues that social platforms are giving us that is the case. So that's a really good, even if, it might be YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. or another short form vertical video platform, I'd try and focus your 20% if you're going to focus on social media on one of those places.
I love that. I think it speaks to efficiency as much as anything else. So, we kind of had that idea at the beginning of a normal company, which we both acknowledge there's no such thing, but like, if you are indeed doing one thing which has actions across a number of things, so indeed, one video that can be placed in 4 places and you're prioritizing on the basis of that seems really sensible. So it's good to know that short form vertical video can indeed be used everywhere. There was a question from Dave Harland actually earlier on, which was, how short is short? So what do you tend to target with your videos?
They're TikTok videos?
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere from 10 seconds to a minute or a minute and a half. But I think there's also examples of slightly longer videos. I think the main thing is it should be as long as it is interesting. So if you've got a really interesting 1.5, 2-minute video on TikTok, like for example, some of the day in the life videos actually go on for a while. They're not like 5 minutes, but like 2 minutes, because there's lots of different things happening that people are interested in, and it captivates and holds the audience's attention. So I don't like this idea of me telling you your video should be 15 seconds long and should be this and that and posted on a Tuesday at 7 p.m. Like, I'm not a big believer in that. I think what you should do is trying and testing different things. Like I mentioned, consistently testing, doing a 10-second video, a 30-second video, a minute-long video. I guess one thing to bear in mind, we tend to keep the clips from our podcast down under a minute, because on YouTube Shorts, you can't upload a YouTube short that's over a minute. So for efficiency purposes, if it's under a minute, it can be posted on all short form vertical video platforms. So maybe that's a bit of a guide for you.
That's really appreciated, and I really, I always appreciate anyone embracing nuance and gray space, because that's where we live. We can't give lessons for every individual. So to sort of say, here's the principles, but you need to apply it yourself is the only way that we can have conversations like this. On that thought, however, on nuance and gray space, then something that I've struggled with personally is trying to keep things to a minute. And I might just be overly verbose, but I really enjoy conversations of nuance and grey space. And so how do you kind of have to accept with the videos that you're producing that you're just going to make one point and kind of ignore the other points, and that's kind of it, or how do you go about that?
Good question. So I guess there's a number of parts to answering this. So like I said before, a lot of our TikTok content is clips cut from our podcast, which are like 30 minutes long. But we know going into those podcasts that we want like under a minute clippable segments. So throughout the podcast, we have that in our mind. So we know if we're getting into a bit of a flow with a topic, we try and rather than drifting our ideas off, our production team always tell us off, because sometimes we say one point and we drift off to another one. And it's very difficult for our post-production team to edit that into a, so at the end, we sometimes create actual, like, knowing we're creating 1-minute videos, speak to camera and plan for that. But I guess even when, like, say, for example, I'm just creating something here on my phone, I'll think to myself, this needs to be under a minute and clear and concise. And the way that TikTok works, you can actually just, you can basically do live editing, because you can shoot in segments. And something you want to do is to try and every 3 seconds or so change something within the video. So change the setting you're in, or change the angle that you're recording in. So you can literally shoot the video in segments, and try and, which will help you try and keep it under a minute. So you could be here saying, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do X, Y, Z. Then go somewhere else in your office and go, here's one of the things, you should do this, you should do that. And that helps, I guess. But I know what you mean. It's if you've got a lot to say, and it's difficult sometimes to be concise, but it just takes practice. Because I was like you, Joe. I like talking, as I could think you can probably tell. So it just takes a bit of sort of practice and discipline.
It's a muscle like anything else. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's go to Tricia, who has a great question, because I'm sure there'll be many folks who feel this way, and there will be many folks who have seen the rest of their team dragged into videos they clearly don't want to be into. So Tricia asks, what if you don't have any budding actors in your company, or you're a brand that no one wants to be, or you have a brand that no one wants to be the face of, so the face of the company?
That's a good question. I think you can think strategically about creating TikToks that don't include people.
Mhm.
Like, if you were doing a day in the life, you don't have to show your face. You can be behind the camera showing like interesting things going on. If you're going out and meeting people, or going to an event, or meeting a client, or whatever you do in your day to day, it's thinking creatively about showing things that are going on without including a person. I guess a second caveat to that is content with people in works really well on TikTok, because people like to see and relate to faces and people. So I'd think, for example, we've hired team members who have shown that they'd be interested in being on camera. So I guess I know if not everyone's in a position where they can hire a team and stuff like that, but could you get an intern that has loads of confidence that you could have in your company, and to test this out, that you could give them you could pay them some money and give them some work experience and that kind of thing. I think trying to think of the challenge in a different way could be a good idea.
Love it. Yeah, there was a great talk a couple of weeks ago by Nana Crawford as well, which Nana was sort of speaking to this challenge and gave some great suggestions. So I won't go into it here, but the summary was, in effect, take folks on the journey, and give them the confidence that you're not there to sort of you're not out there to get them or make them look like an idiot. You can sort of show the example and sort of take them on that journey of creation. And those unwilling folks may sort of be willing to try it once, or whatever it may be.
And also, just one thing to add to that, Joe, I think there's ways that you can create content where you don't have to put too much pressure on that person. Like, they don't have to speak on camera. The whole thing of using a trending sound with with a relatable caption written on the screen, the person doesn't need to be talking to the camera, because that can be quite scary for some people. Like, I used to be like that when I started being on camera. So there's ways you can do it that sort of overcomes that barrier.
That's perfect. Thank you, mate. Let's go to the next one. So we're speaking about, you've mentioned your production team, so to speak, but the question comes from Anonymous, who says, how do you manage to resource TikTok as a normal company with a smaller social media team? So how would you approach that sort of stuff?
So a lot of my TikTok outside our podcast clips, which are produced by our production team, is just done by me sitting at my desk here or in my car. Like, you see some of our high production content, because we're literally a video and social media marketing agency. We've obviously got the production team that make that really beautiful high production value content, but the other 50% is just me, just like, sitting here creating content on my phone. So I think the first thing is that I found is scheduling the time to do it. I schedule a 15-minute slot every day in the morning, which is, and my to-do list is basically, one, add comments to a variety of other people's TikToks in my For You page. 2, find a trending sound. And it's usually very easy, because like I mentioned earlier, as I'm scrolling on TikTok, I like things that I think we can emulate, and they're in my saved folder. So that's already done, but just from me scrolling earlier in the day. And then 3, create my own version and post it. And scheduling the time just is how I've done it.
Nice. I love that. Nicole says a lovely comment here, which is, our motto for TikTok content is scrappy, not crappy. Yeah, it doesn't have that. It doesn't have to be polished, though, which is what Nicole says, but I really agree with that point. I think there's a lot more organic feeling stuff on there, which is necessarily polished. It's interesting or entertaining or whatever it may be.
And that's the great thing about TikTok. It's such a low barrier to entry. You don't need to be a good video producer or editor or really understand a huge amount about video. What you can do is spend time looking at other things that are coming up in your feed, and then look at things that you like and emulate that and add your own twist that's going to be relatable to your target market. It's really easy.
I love it. It's one of those things. So you say it's really easy, and like, I would have the same sort of feeling about LinkedIn, but I understand the anxiety that folks go through, having posted on LinkedIn for 6 years every day or whatever it is now, then it feels normal. But you have to go through that journey, right? Which is what you've described.
You're right. I think if when I was at the stage of starting this, I wouldn't have said it's really easy. I think just because I'm so in it now and I'm just used to doing it every single day. It's like you said earlier, Joe, it's training that muscle. But I think it shows that like anyone watching this can get to that point. It's just the consistency and testing. Keep those things in your mind, and eventually you'll find something that works for you. And it could be nothing that I've suggested here or we've discussed. It could be something completely different. Like there's some really amazing like arts and crafts kind of creators that I've seen on TikTok that show you the process of them creating the things that they sell in their sort of craft shops that are really good. So there's lots of different things that work.
Hang on. Nice one. Let's take the next question from Sophie. I'm mindful that we've got a couple of minutes left. And so you've already spoken to this with your 20% rule. So the answer may just be 20%, but I'll ask it anyway, because it may not be. So Sophie asks, how much time has this taken away from other lead gen activities? Has this impacted your lead gen activity?
That's a really good point. I'd say it's obviously had to take up some of our time that could be used for something else, but we've made sure that it's like 20% or under, so it doesn't have a negative impact on the other things that we know work, like LinkedIn, like the podcast. And also I think another important thing to kind of point out is constantly tracking the data. To like we've tested things before that just haven't worked, and we've stopped doing them and then moved on to something else. So I think being informed and making decisions based on the data is really important, and having the courage to, even if you've invested a load of time in a platform, you may try and test TikTok for a while and think this really isn't for me. I'm going to try something else to put my 20% into. And yeah, you should feel the kind of courage to be able to do that. But yeah, it hasn't negatively impacted the other areas, because we set every month I plan our marketing resource and ensure that 20% is there allocated to be trying and testing something new.
I love that. And so when does this switch into, has TikTok now switched into part of your 80% now, or is it still your 20%?
No, I'd say it's still our 20%, because we actually did a podcast on this. We have a vertical video first approach. So all of the content we create for even places like LinkedIn and other platforms, we have a vertical video first approach where we create the content vertical and then usually have a square version as well. So all of that content can be optimized to be posted on places like TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Reels. So yes, if you have that vertical video first approach, you can then repurpose it for those other platforms. So it's not quite in the 80% yet. We're still testing the water, because it's not our biggest lead generator. Like, we've had a number of leads come through TikTok, but it's nowhere near LinkedIn, which we've been building for years.
Bang on. Good man, mate. That's been so fabulous to get your whistle stop tour of TikTok, and thank you for sharing the journey. I also, I appreciate the caveats and the thoughtfulness that you've given throughout, because I don't think the purpose of this has ever been to say you need to do this. I think that say you can consider it, and that's exactly what this is here for. So
yeah,
thank you, my friend. It's great to have that information, and folks, use it as you wish, but that's how it works. So you did an intake of breath there, mate. No,
I was just listening. No, you carry on, mate.
Awesome. So with that said, thank you all so much. This is the end of another year of the marketing meetup. 2022 has been a bumper one. We'll be back on 17th of January with our new season. In fact, I can reveal the first speaker right now. We'll be speaking about imposter syndrome. We had a talk about 2 years ago about imposter syndrome, and it was one of the greatest ever. So we're looking to revisit that topic, and a great way to kick off 2023. So honestly, just thank you all so blooming much for just.
You're brilliant, Joe.
No, it's
thank you.
It's just nice. Thank you, mate. It's just a lovely, lovely thing. But it's a co-created experience. So every one of you has made the decision to turn up with your best foot forward, and that's just endlessly appreciated. So with all that said, with the happy Christmases going on in the chat feature, thank you, Dan. Thank you, everyone, for watching in today. Merry Christmas. Have a lovely holiday season, everyone. And take care of yourself. And I really, really hope to see you in 2023. If I could ask one last thing, please do thank the sponsors. It honestly makes the biggest difference. They always come to me saying, this is special because of that. And with all that said, happy 2022, everyone. And we'll see you next